Welcome to another edition of Blathercast Music. I'm John.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Like to hear. I'm one of a kind, John. It's
That's
like
right.
the most unique name ever.
And I'm Jim. Good morning.
This week, I gave you Megadeth 13. I gave us. That was my pick. And yours was, hey, I haven't listened to Weezer in a long time. Let's check out their latest album, Pacific Dream. And
yeah.
This album.
Wait, let me start. This album, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not magical. It's terrible. That's the word.
So that was my first thought. I was like, I really don't. I was like, this has got electric beats. It's really poppy, but I was actually listening to the words, and I'm like, this album makes me want to like slit my wrists. It's super depressing. Every song is about the girl that he never got.
Sure.
Or the girl that's gone. And it didn't feel like Weezer.
Right.
But on my second listen, I decided I really like this album.
Oh, really? My second listen confirmed my first listen.
I was like, you know what? I feel it. I was in a different mood when I listened to it. And, my opinion changed like that. There's specifically 2 or 3 songs that I really dig on this album.
Right on.
Feels Like Summer, Happy Hour, QB Blitz. I kind of really dug.
Right on. QB Blitz was my takeaway. I really like that track. If I was to pick one of this album, I kind of like the Mantra Screwjob a bit too. But this album, to me, like, I don't know, you can feel core Weezer underneath it, and I wasn't too troubled by the lyrical content. I never am. Like, whether it's some sappy love song or some raging, angry metal tune, like the lyrics themselves are just another instrument. It's a subset of the whole, and the total vibe that I get from a track or an album is usually what I try to run with, But you could feel the core Weezer under here. You could feel they've always been poppy. That's always been one of their strengths, that they're really good at their own little quirky formula, putting out a good pop song. But this felt like, I don't know who produced this, but it just felt like it was just too poppy. Like they were trying to make a modern pop album instead of a Weezer pop album.
I do agree with you. Their songs, and while their songs are, if you listen to the lyrics to any of them, a lot of them aren't happy or uplifting or whatever, but still have that upbeat beat and, they're poppy.
Yeah.
I didn't like that it was electronic poppy. That was my problem with it when I first listened to it. But like I said, I liked it the second time. I'm going to listen to it probably a lot more. Especially, I'll probably wear out the songs that I liked on it. Now, I'm not a radio listener anymore. I go on Music Discovery in a totally different way. It's a new age. And I don't really like the radio. I really like Whistle by Flow Rider. And I totally found that somewhere else. And, of course, I find out that's, I didn't even know who Flow Rider was. Whatever.
Right.
And I didn't go check out any of his other stuff. I just really like the whistle in the song. Like I like the whistling.
Yeah, right on. Nothing wrong with that.
So I think we'll start with QB Blitz since we both said we liked it. We'll play a little bit, stop, talk about it, play a little bit. I've decided if we play a whole song, it's okay if we chop the shit out of it when we do.
Okay. Right on.
Anyways.
I got nothing.
All of my conversations die of pain.
All right, well, I'll try to fix that then.
See, I don't know if I'll be listening to this album again. I'll definitely be...
You got to hold that thought because I'm right there with you. I know what you're going to say. All right. Well, tell me if you can hear it now.
Painful death.
Yes.
All right. You can talk right over it. It really doesn't matter.
I can't get anyone to do algebra with me. It's hard to make real friends.
So I can't find anyone to do algebra with me. That line.
Right.
So he keeps referring to a nerdy, smart, but sexy girl throughout the whole album that disappears
Right on.
or is gone.
Yeah.
Mexican Fender, which might be... that song is super depressing, listening to the words to it. But the theme is in there. It's in the Beach Boys. Happy Hour is basically, he's like, man, I had a really shitty day. I need a drink. That's what the song's about. It's not anything happy about Happy Hour.
That's one thing I really enjoy about the album. I love that kind of stuff. Lovesick tragedies, slightly depressing songs. I absolutely dig that. Hell, most of my songs are lovesick tragedies about, a girl I didn't get or I couldn't have, things like that. I admire those themes.
See,
so
I admire those themes too. The thing is like, now that I know I'm going to be talking about this album, I start, like, I was more in tune to listening to what the message of the album was. And I think that'll end up being the case as time goes on. It'll probably get worse. Because you start critiquing stuff, you really start honing in what you really like about stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, I'm going to continue the song.
My friends have lots of friends. I don't hang out enough. Take drugs and learn to love. This intercom is broken into pieces. I gotta call my cue. Be blitz out on the ice fields of hope. I'll be missing you like oxygen, surgeon.
Yeah, so it's funny. This song has that definitely has that surfer Beach Boys type feel to it.
Right.
And then the song Beach Boys doesn't at all.
Yeah, I noticed.
What is going on over
Sun won't shine tonight. Metro screaming by, walking with the Mexicans. Should I call an ambulance? We need a melody, a gorgeous one-part harmony, so it all makes sense. There's gotta be more than this. Everyone wants to be cooler than everyone else. It's a hip-hop world, and we're the furniture. Let's get out of the city. Let me tell you about a band I loved when I was a West Side kid. Turn it up, it's the Beach Boys, singing out in a sweet voice, on a roll like a twist toy. Keep picking them Beach Boys. Turn it up, it's the Beach Boys, make my eyes get moist. Hold them up.
See, even listening to that song for the third time, I'm totally digging it more than the first two times.
Right on. Yeah, I'm still a little turned off by that track in particular, but like I said, like, you can hear some core Weezer under it. There's something about the production that's bothering me, and I can't quite place it, but That song wasn't too bad. It sounded a bit organic, but like you said earlier, there's a lot of electronic instrumentation in this album. I think that might be kind of rubbing me the wrong way, which is odd. I really like electronic instrumentation. It just seemed like a departure from Weezer, which
Yeah,
I don't know, feels a little.
That was my first.
Feels a little wrong to critique. Yeah, and it feels a little wrong to critique that. I always appreciate a band that tries to break out of its so-called mold and expand, and that's always a good thing, especially when it comes off well. But I don't know, there's something about this album that just didn't quite feel like a whole picture to me.
All right, so we're gonna steer away from this album just for a couple minutes, maybe an hour, who knows. So I listened to this album all the way through, pretty much straight shot on the way to work, because it's so short, for one. And when I got to work, I was like, we both probably stopped listening to Weezer around the same time.
Probably.
And you're like, what have they done since then? And I was like, there's got to be something in between the last album and this album that is really awesome. So I went back.
And you're right. That's exactly where I was going to go earlier. Let's go back. Yeah, listen to some of the in-betweens. I stopped after Green Album. I listened to a little bit of Maladroit. I wasn't overly impressed off the top, but that's one album that I went back to shortly after it came out and kind of dug some of it. But the first three albums, Blue Album, Pinkerton, and Green Album, were amazing. I absolutely adore every bit of all three of those albums.
So I didn't listen. I just went back 2 more albums because I still wanted to stay recent. And I listened to Everything Will Be All Right in the End and the White Album.
Nice.
My thoughts are I really fucking love Everything Will Be All Right in the End. It is a killer album. I especially love this Back to the Shack song. One of my favorite songs by them is In the Garage, and this is almost like the sequel to that song.
All right, nice.
So I'm gonna
can almost see that in the title, right?
And go ahead and listen to the lyrics because it kind of explains. Like Rivers Cuomo is kind of a fucked up dude.
Really?
Well, in my opinion, like he does the Weezer thing, and then he like quits being in the band and goes to Harvard and wants to learn classical music and gets all messed up, and he's like has 1 semester left to get his degree from Harvard, and is like, fuck this, classical music sucks, and like a young,
let's go on tour.
Like a young man who has no idea what he wants to do with his life and is just, had some success on a couple albums and is just like trying to figure out, like, is this really what I want to do now that I have the freedom to do what I want, kind of?
Sure.
Anyways, this song kind of touches on that, and we are going to listen to the whole thing because it's a good, well, at least most of it. We'll stop and talk about each verse.
Each syllable?
Yeah.
Sure, let's see that Back to Shack.
I forgot that disco sucks. I ended up with nobody and I started feeling dumb. Maybe I should play the lead guitar and Pat should play the drums. Take me back to the shack, back to the strap with the lightning strap. Kicking the door, more hardcore, rocking out like it's 94. Let's turn up the radio, turn off those stupid singing shows. I know where we need to go, back to the shack.
All right, so that was the first verse in the chorus.
Nice.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, I went and tried some other things, and sorry about that because I was totally wrong. Let's just make some rock and roll.
Yeah, well, I found it interesting because it wasn't it. I never knew the story of Weezer. I mean, I know that he, left the band for a bit, did the Harvard thing, left Harvard right at the end, and went back to the band. But it almost sounded apologetic, like there was some bad blood when he did that,
Oh yes,
which is interesting to hear in verse form.
This this album seemed pretty personal, and it was more. It seems apologetic, but it's also like the Weezer I wanted to hear. You know what I mean?
Sure, I know.
And I love the little riff on The Voice in America's Got Talent and America's Idol in the chorus, in the chorus there. Turn up the radio, turn off those stupid singing shows.
Right.
I was just like, that's awesome. All right, we'll go into the second verse here, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. It's more apologetic also.
I finally settled down with my girl, and I made up with my dad. Had to go and make a few mistakes so I could find out who I am. I'm letting all of these feelings out, even if it means I fail. 'Cause this is what I was meant to do, and you can't put that on sale. Take me back to the shack, back to the strat with the lightning strap. Kicking the door, more hardcore, rocking out like it's 94. Let's turn up the radio, turn off those stupid singing shows. I know where we need to go, back to the shack.
So that again was just like personal, and this is why I think I was right on in what I was saying, because he gave me the words,
right, sure.
And like it makes you think different about when he's talking about his daddy in those earlier albums. Because in that verse he's like, I made up with my dad. And it was kind of obvious in some of his other earlier music that they didn't have a good relationship.
Right on.
I don't know if you ever picked that up or not, but
oh yeah, well yeah, clearly on that first album for sure. But I don't know, this song, and I haven't listened to this whole album, but I don't know, feels a little subpar. Like I get that there's a story mode to these lyrics, and the riff is only so, which I guess is, normal for pop rock, but I don't know. It doesn't grab me.
I'm totally not with you on that.
I can tell.
All right, and here he goes into the middle eight or whatever you want to call it.
Good.
To do, and if we die in obscurity, oh well, at least we raise some hell.
And that's pretty much the rest of the song. But
I like that. That was a good middle eight. It started out a little weak, but I definitely like that.
Yeah, and the lyrics at that part were pretty rock and roll cliche, but who cares?
Sure.
I like that about it. I missed the song on here. Let's listen to it.
Sure, let's do that.
right, what do you think of this one right off the bat?
See, I guess here's one of the issues I have with the later Weezer albums is that they're not too unlike their earlier albums. They have a similar structure, even similar riffs. And I don't know, there's not a lot of... I have this running theory that most bands don't make it past 3 albums, at least in quality, certainly in quantity. This album's 20 years after their first album, you know? The one we had selected as our pick of the week, Pacific Daydream, was 23 years, 3 years apart from these 2 albums here. And there's at least an album or 2 in between those. They consistently put out music, you know? But, I don't know, they haven't stretched their legs. They certainly don't have the same raw intensity or even just raw originality of those 3 albums. It's like they're trying to chase the dragon. They keep trying to recapture the spirit. But it just seems more regurgitated than recaptured to me.
Oh, I feel that, but it's exactly what I wanted to hear when I pressed play on this particular album. And
that's fair.
And it's probably only because Pacific Daydream was such a departure.
Right.
Like, if I would have listened to these 2 first, I would have been like, oh, they're just another Weezer album. But I didn't, you know, so that might have something to do with it. There are some songs, I think especially on the next album, that you can really hear the Rentals influence.
Nice.
I think this one does too. I'm not sure. We'll have to play a little bit. Which was the basis of his band.
Right.
Go back to sleep, honey. Everything will be all right in the end.
All the girls love you.
I'm proud of you, son. That's so simple. Look, rock is dead. Guitars are dead. Then we're in the category astronaut. Your first
Okay, that wasn't the song I was thinking of, but yeah. So that was Ain't Got Nobody. The one before that was Foolish Father. Just for the people who aren't watching the video can know what the hell we're talking about.
Sure.
So I didn't listen to the whole White Album, but I gave it a listen, and then I gave a listen to the other one. What is that noise, man?
I have a gaggle of demons fighting a heroic battle down here. It's either that or the washing machine. Neither of which I can avoid right now, though.
That's fine. That's fine. That's what happens when you have distant shows with not a studio.
I know. Sorry about that. I try to avoid such happenings on these mornings, but today it is unavoidable.
All right. Let's check California Kids. This is the opening tune on the White Album.
When you wake up, cobwebs on your eyelids, stuck in rigor mortis. Whoa, just get going till you hit the ocean and you turn Californian. Whoa, you don't have to have the answers. Don't you worry, don't you worry. if you're on a sinking ship, the California kids will throw you a lifeline.
I think you heard the Reynolds bit there in the chorus, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really enjoying Weezer right here, right now, listening to this with you. I don't know why. Maybe it's a track order. Like when I sit down and listen to an album, I don't know. It's tough to pin down. Like I'm kind of enjoying every bit of the Weezer you're jamming right now. But when I sit down and listen to these in my car on the way to or from work or whatever, they don't gel the same. Right. I tried laying on my couch with headphones and just getting into the mode, and they don't gel the same.
Hold on. Play. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this Reynolds song because it's that song that made me think of this song kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm a good guy for a gal, so won't you look my palm over? I got the type for a chat, so won't you tell me my picture?
I don't know. Maybe I was bass there.
Oh, love that song. So, yeah, you know, it's listening.
It's not quite the same woo, but
yeah, the Rentals were obviously very Weezer-like, and I don't know if it's because what's his name, Matt Sharp, when he left Weezer to do Rentals, and it was a departure of the band. It wasn't just like a side project at the time, you know. But I don't know if he learned some tips and tricks from Rivers Cuomo or what, but it definitely felt very Weezer-ish. But here, listening to these later Weezer albums and tracks with you, I do start to get more of a sense of him sticking to his guns. Like, Rivers Cuomo can make a very layered and textured, very rich pop song, you know? But even some of the tracks from Everything Will Be Alright in the End and the White Album, they still have those styles and textures of their earlier stuff, you know? I think maybe leaning a little bit too much towards regurgitating some earlier riffs, but it still feels like a Weezer album. 20 years in, there's so much credit to be given. 20 years in, putting out some of the songs that are on those albums. Pacific Daydream, though, it's more like he let the production reins go, and it definitely doesn't. Like, I'm all about a band growing, but the latest album felt much more like a departure than anything else.
So now that you made that statement, like that he's sticking to his guns, that song that was so apologetic now sounds so unapologetic.
Right.
Especially when you get to the end when he's of the song and he's just like, this is what we were meant to do. We were meant to rock out and raise some hell.
Hell yeah.
You know.
All right, here's my final takeaway from it. Like, I still love Weezer, and there's some tracks on Pacific Daydream that I do really like. But as a whole, I didn't really dig the album. I'm glad that you went back and played just a couple albums right before this one, because it still kind of reinvigorated some core Weezer for me. I still love Weezer, but this album, Pacific Daydream, was a no-go for me.
All right, I'm going to play a little bit out of the last song that I really dug, which was Happy Hour. yeah, so I don't know. I kind of dug the feel of that tune, and I appreciate the depressing part of it now. After the first listen, the second
Right.
listen and listen to these songs, I'm like, I liked it a little better. But it's like you have these electronic kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? It was like,
I do. One thing I really liked about this album is it gave me great reason to go back through their catalog and get refamiliar with them again. I think
right.
that's a positive outcome. It did for you, and it has for me. I just haven't sat down and done it yet. But that's it's a good band. Like I was saying, like there's so many bands that kind of phase out after the third album. At best, some phase out after the first or second.
Right.
But I write songs. I've written songs for a long time. Done nothing with them. Someday I hope I record them for posterity, if nothing else. But I have about 3 albums of what I consider to be good stuff. After that, I'll be stretching. If I was to ever make a career at it, I'd be grabbing at straws, and they wouldn't be as real as this core of 30 tunes that I've got ready out of the gate.
Well, the thing is, though, is if you have, 8 to 15 songs that everyone adores, you can just tour until you die and make money.
It's true. The Stones did it.
You can't do it with 3 songs or 2 songs.
Right.
You have to have 3 good albums, pretty much.
Yeah, or definitely have, and Weezer's really good at this. There's easily a song or 2 from every album that are just really good, and I don't know if they've been hit singles, but that happens to a lot of bands. Korn, for instance, I think they kind of fizzled a bit after the first 3 albums. I thought Korn 3 was pretty good, like Wall to Wall album. It was pretty core, but at least every album had a really good single though. Like just blow you out of the water single, even though the rest of the album was kind of background noise,
Right.
I think that happens to a lot of bands. I think that happened to Coldplay. The first two or three albums were really good, but after that, they had a great single off of each album, but the rest of the album just kind of background noise. Just didn't really.
Yeah, I didn't like the left turn into orgy territory with Korn.
Right.
I didn't dig that. It's not my thing. I know that he was involved with those guys before Korn, but
right. Yeah.
So my pick for the week was 13 by Megadeth.
Yes.
So, any favorites off of this one?
Me, yeah, definitely. Where was I? Guns, Drugs, and Money.
Ha!
Is that one of yours?
Yes.
Definitely. Love this track. Starts out strong, good riffing, just a good, solid Dave Mustaine rock song.
All right, so let's play a little bit of that.
Drinking cold cerveza in a boiling hot saloon. Chasing shots of tequila just about high noon. Outside the whale of the river, deep in no man's land. Become a killer or be a kill. Face down in the Rio Grande. Poverty will turn the life of any good man bad. All love and mercy ever will soon forget what he had. Guns, drugs, and money under the Mexican sky. Guns, drugs, and money. Pick your poison or you die. Guns, drugs, and money.
All right. So when you talk about like music not changing too much, like albums, like okay, you get some good albums. Some of their best work came after their third album.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
But however, it seems like they've stayed on the same track, but just really refined what they're doing. But they haven't taken any kind of wild departure.
Right.
I really like the song Deadly Nightshade was another one, and Public Enemy #1.
Yeah, Deadly Nightshade was my other pick. That's just fantastic riffing right out of the gate.
So okay, we'll go with that one next. And Public Enemy #1, I think, was the single. Like I said, I'm not sure because I don't listen to radio anymore. But
right, yeah, me either.
Here we go.
Won't you take a midnight stroll with me through the misty air? The things I keep, I shouldn't dare. My garden's so inviting, and its deadly blooms are hiding. Be careful what you touch, lest the grave is what you lust. Drive the blind, you're getting tired. They're alive. Don't close your eyes. Live with fear. Dreams become nightmares from the deadly nightshade.
That bass line is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's stellar. Yeah,
real simple, but just like boom, 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 boom. I don't know. I dig it.
I do too. Those two songs to me were the best. Like just straightforward, chunky rock tunes, good leads, good bass lines. His lyrical content's always a little. I don't know. It doesn't waver too much, you know. But I thought they were the best driving rock songs of the album. I think some of this album tries to be a little grandiose, which is hit and miss with Dave Mustaine. Like he's trying to weave a heavy metal operatic tapestry, which I thought he nailed on Countdown to Extinction. I really like that album.
See, that's the feel I got from Public Enemy #1. That was the countdown type song on this album, which is why I liked it. I mean, Countdown was a stellar piece of work.
Yeah.
Here we go. Whoops. Are you still there? Hello? Hello? Did I lose you? So, anyways, that was the countdown-ish song off of that album. So if we go, and it's hard to sometimes because I don't think the time is always. P Cells, was that their first album? I'm not even. I don't even know. Uh, yeah, but P Cells is 1986. You know, so these guys have been around forever. Um, let's just play a little bit of this song. You can't hear that because I didn't share it.
That's true.
What a dummy. All right, there we go. But, you know, that's like first album. You get to I can't remember where a Countdown is, but okay, so Countdown was their fifth album. Uh but then it was just like Skin of My Teeth was great, Symphony was great, Foreclosure, Sweating Bullets, uh Psychotron. I was yeah, this was just a great album. My favorite's either Sweating Bullets or Symphony. Um, off of this album. Oh, let's start with that one. Madness goes. Adams within. I just love how they can have such a killer riff on their chorus that doesn't like it's still like no assholes, we're metal all the way through. It's not just going to be a chunk chunk chunk. No, we're going to lead all the way through it. Uh, so this was another Cryptic Writings 97. Another, another album. This has got to be their 7th or 8th album. I also really dig this. I mean, Trust, Almost Honest, Use the Man, A Secret Place. Um, I mean, it's just amazing to me. Like they definitely, and the, and it's crazy. Like it's still definitely Megadeth, but it's just like we're gonna keep fine tuning and fine tuning. And what's really strange about that is almost none of these albums have the same lineup. None of them. Uh, Dave Mustaine has taken Megadeth and made a corporate machine out of it. Which, good or bad, like, he's a good CEO for this particular business venture. Right. R- So I am going to play a little Use the Man. I absolutely adore this song. I don't know. I love that song. I'm I- I'm pretty sure that's not what uh and then just like heart heart pounding fast great metal. I love Motorpsycho, and then we're done talking about Megadeth. One 100 miles an hour. I don't know. That it's just like boom, 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 boom. it's it's funny that you said the brand thing because that's one of the complaints some of his former bandmates have had is that it's like Dave dictates, what we can wear. Dave dictates what if we can get a haircut. Dave dictates, you know. I mean, he really is. He's like, this is what Megadeth is, and if you don't like it, there's the fucking door. Yeah, and it's interesting to see a band that or a leader of a band drive it like that. It's the same thing that Gene Simmons and Kiss do. Like the only difference is Megadeth still keeps putting out good albums and Kiss doesn't. But there's that. So, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. My pick for next week, I'm going to pick two, and then you tell which one we want to do. So, I got Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Or Pieces of Scariot by the Smashing Pumpkins. Dude, it is a stellar album. It's got God Only Knows Why on it, which, come on, that song is a great song. Yep. Okay. Pet Sounds it is. What do you got? Andrew Bird. All right. Uh, well, there's not too much music that I don't like. Yeah, I can. What was the album that uh, you were like, I love rock? Like, what was it? What album was it? Yes. Okay, so it was pretty later in life. I was 7 or 8 years old, and it was Afterburner. It was particularly the song "Can't Stop Rocking," which is now when I listen to it, I don't really like that song that much anymore. But right, you had the early all the way to late '90s bands like Nirvana and the Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, and then yep, and then it was like Korn, Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, uh, you know, ugh. Anyway, yeah, yeah, Lincoln Park. Uh, well, you kind of know how I kind of was like Lincoln Park. All right, so don't forget to go to blathercast.com, subscribe or whatever to our YouTube channel. There's a link there. There's a link down in the bottom right hand corner of this video. If you're listening to it on a podcast, you're probably already subscribed, but tell your friends. Yeah, and check out shop.blathercast.com. If you are watching on YouTube, this awesome piece of artwork here is done by the guy who does the comic book Iron Sights. Did this for us. You can get that on a t-shirt or a hoodie. and there is there's a donation button. I don't think I've put it on blathercast.com yet because I'm an idiot. But there's a t-shirt donation level on comics.blathercast.com. If you click that, any donation $40 or more, you can pick whatever t-shirt you want from shop.blathercast.com. I'll email you a code or some crap and you can get it. So, I guess that's it. You can follow me at Johnny Redbeard.
You can follow me at Legatus, Legattis, and engage us. Let us know how wrong or right we are about Weezer or Megadeth or any other band we talked about. Let's keep this going on Twitter.
Yeah, or you can email me at gofuckyourself@blathercast.com. It could be, but it's actually just John at blathercast.com if you want to send an email and not have the discussion on the Twitters.
That's right, but our complaints department is goffuckyourself@blathercast.com.
Right. And if you have a problem with your order, it's support at blathercast.com. All right, folks, drop the needle.